The subject of today is your work purifying you? The question is, why do you work? Most people in the world work for many things, and these things are for the body, for the mind, for the intelligence, for the ego. So for the body, they want to be paid, they want money, they want remuneration. For the mind, they want to enjoy the work they're doing. They don't enjoy the work they're doing, then they want to give it up. Just like if they don't get paid for that work, they want to give it up. They don't enjoy the work they're doing, they want to give it up. Yet others will tolerate the fact that they are not paid or they are not enjoying the work as long as they're learning something. Because you say that if I'm learning something from my job, then why should I worry about getting paid? I'll pay somebody who will teach me how to do a job. This is called apprenticeship. And lastly, one works for the ego. One works for name, one works for fame, one works for something larger than oneself. One wants to say that one belongs to a major corporate whose name everybody knows. They want to work in the field of politics so that everyone will know them. And as their ego demands, they will have power and position and control. So these are all the reasons why people work. Some people work out of obligation. They work to support their family. They work to support their parents. They work to support their children. And along the way, they make many sacrifices for it. A woman gets married and very often makes many sacrifices as she works for both her husband and her children. And very often people are frustrated in their work. They feel they've sacrificed their career to look after their family. They feel they've sacrificed their career to look after their parents. They feel they've sacrificed their better opportunities just so that they could fulfill their duties and obligations. And of course, all these people are disturbed. Some people contact me and they say that, oh, I should have been on the stage, I should have been an actor, I should have been a musician, I should have been a singer, I should have been hero or a heroine, but I had to give that all up because my parents said that's not a practical line. So I missed my Swadharma. And all the time you are talking about Bhagavad Geeta, wanting us to do the Swadharma, but we are not getting an opportunity to do the Swadharma. So at such times, I always point out the most important principle of being God conscious. And the most important principle of being God conscious is to accept, to believe, and to accept that not a single blade of grass moves without God's consent. Burn this in your mind, hang it around your neck, that not a single blade of grass moves without God's consent. In the Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad, it is said, Tena vina tranam api na charati. Not a single blade of grass moves without God's consent. If it moves on the left side, it is by God's consent. If it moves on the right side, that is also by God's consent. Once you accept that, and you accept that what lies in front of you is your Swadharma, and no matter how attractive other work may be, you apply yourself to doing your work in a spirit of devotion and sacrifice to God. You become the yogi and you become the sannyasi. Anashritah karma phalam karya karma karoti yah sa sannyasi cha yogi cha na niragnir na chakriyah. One who performs their God-given duties in a spirit of sacrifice to the all-pervading Lord, they are the true yogis, they are the true sannyas, not those who light on fire and do work. Krishna is very clear on this. Very, very clear. Sannyasas karma yogascha nihshreyasya karahubhau tayostu karma sannyasat karma yogo vishishyate. Both abandoning the world and your duties, as well as working in the world and performing your duties in a spirit of sacrifice and devotion, both are conducive to attaining salvation. But between the two, working in the world in a spirit of devotion and renunciation is by far superior. Sannyasasthu mahabhao dukkham aptum yogatah yoga yukta munir brahman na chirena adi gacchati. For one who abandons his duties, one who abandons the world without having attained complete union with God, such a person attains only sorrow. But one who works in a spirit of devotion and renunciation, such a person attains the supreme without delay. So the truth is, what is the truth? The purpose of work, Krishna points out, is not for the sake of money alone. It is not for the sake of enjoying the work alone. It is not for the sake of learning something alone. It is not for the sake of name and fame alone. All these are useful side effects. And if they are there, wonderful. It's wonderful if they are there. But your true test will come when they are not there. When they are not there, will you be tested by God? When you find that you're being not paid or poorly paid or inadequately paid, when you find that you're not enjoying that work, when you find that you're not learning anything from that work, when you find indeed that your work is not even acknowledged, forget about name and fame. Then you are tested. Om Tat Sat. Krishna, I am doing this for you. Your boss doesn't appreciate you. Your workers around you do not appreciate you. Your juniors do not appreciate you. But you keep working with sincerity and devotion and renunciation to praise God, to please God. What is the result of that? The result of that is that you as an individual will become purified. The most purificatory stages of my life have been not in any temple, not in any meditation retreat. The most spiritually beneficial periods of my life are when I was forced to work with no worldly advantage. No worldly advantage. In every way, people said, why are you doing this work? But that was life, that was circumstantial. That was by the grace of God, because everything happens by the grace of God. If a leaf, if a blade of grass moves on the left side, it is God's consent. If it moves on the right side, it is by God's consent. And throughout those years of work, putting my head down, being humble, being unappreciated, not learning anything much, not enjoying what I was doing, being underpaid. Yet, those were the most spiritually productive periods of my life. So the purpose of work is not the improvement of your prakriti. Your prakriti is benefited if you earn money commensurate with the work that you're putting in. Your prakriti is benefited if you're enjoying what you're doing. Your intelligence, also prakriti, is benefited when you learn something. Your ahankar, also your prakriti, is benefited when you are gaining name and fame and acknowledgement and gratitude. But the spirit, the purush, is benefited when you work in a spirit of devotion to please God alone, and when none of these things really count. When none of these things really count, then indeed your mind becomes purified. Your intelligence becomes purified. Your ego becomes attenuated and annihilated. Your body becomes purified. Because the real purpose of work is your purification. Therefore, Krishna recommends, even if you are a spiritual seeker, even if you are a yogi, You must work for the sake of purification. For the primary purpose of work is to be purified. Kayena manasa buddhaya kevalair indriyarapi yogina karma kurvanti sangam tyaktva atma shuddhaye. With the body, with the mind, with the intelligence, with one's senses. Even yogis work, and they work for the purpose of purification, Atma Shuddhaye. So it's precisely when you think you're getting nothing out of the work that you're doing that you really are getting everything. Don't think I would have liked to do great things in life. Great things in life are done by God using people as instruments. You are not the doer. Prakriti kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashah ahankara vimudatma kartahamiti manyate. Everything is performed by Prakriti. And who motivates that Prakriti? Maya Dyakshena Prakriti Suyate Sa Characharam Hetuna Nena Kaunteya Jagad Viparivartate. Krishna acts through Prakriti and does all the work that you think you are doing. In the Mahabharata, Krishna reveals to Arjun in the center of the Bhagavad Geeta that behold, all the Kauravas are already dead. So I'm giving you a chance to be and play a hero. So I'm killing all these Kauravas. Don't you want to be my instrument? Or will you let somebody else be my instrument? So don't imagine that you have to do great things to please God. You have to do great acts of sacrifice to please God. When you're disappointed, when you're disillusioned, many times people come and tell me, I've become disillusioned with my parents. I've become disillusioned with my husband. I've become disillusioned with my wife. Or I've become disillusioned with my son. I say, wonderful, wonderful. What is the meaning of disillusionment? To be disillusioned means to be enlightened. Illusion goes away with enlightenment. So when you are disillusioned, please understand it means that you are enlightened. That enlightenment may be painful, but embrace it, welcome it, because when you embrace that enlightenment, you will get everlasting peace. ब्रह्मण्य आधाय कर्माणि संगम त्यक्त्वा करोति यः लिप्यते न स पापेन पद्मपत्रम इवं वसी. Krishna points out in the Bhagavad Gita that all acts which you are offering to the all-pervading Lord in the form of Brahman, in the aspect of Brahman, such a person, his actions never stick to him. There is no karma for him. There is no sin for him. It doesn't stick to him. No karma stick to him. No sin stick to him. Just like no water sticks to a lotus leaf that lives within water and is yet never wet. So karma is the result of your ahankar. And when that ahankar is sacrificed, when you do a bali of that ahankar, through the sacrifice you're making by giving up, then you become purified. So what happens when you get purified? How do I know when I'm getting purified? When you remember God and forget yourself, you become purified. And by remembering God and forgetting yourself, as you become purified, you find indeed that you become free from sorrow. Your anxiety will go away, your depression will go away. Your anger will go away. Dukheshu anudignamana vige Dukheshu anudignamana Dukheshu vigataspriha Vita raga bhaya krodha stitati mani uchyate. You will not be disturbed by sorrow, nor will you be excited by joy. You will become free from attachment, free fear and anger. You will be the sage of steady wisdom. Jitatmana prashantasya paramatma samahita. Sitoshana sukhadukeshu tatamanapanaya. For one who has conquered the mind, for one who has transcended the mind, for him God is already reached. For him, heat and cold, joy and sorrow, honor and dishonor, they are guaranteed to him. So indeed, if you work as sacrifice. If all these things come, that is money, is enjoyment in your work, learning through your work, name and fame through your work, offer that to God. Om Tat Sat. O Lord, this is all your doing. I am doing nothing. This is your prasad I am receiving. The purpose of my work is not all these things that I get from my work. All that I am receiving from my work, which I seek, is my purification. Atma Shuddhaya. Indeed, we perform sacrifice, we give in charity, we perform tapasyas or austerities, but all of them are for the sake of our purification. Yajna dana tapah karma na karyam tyajam eva tat yajna dana tapah karma pavanani manishina. Three activities no one should ever give up. Performance of sacrifice, which is remembering God and forgetting self. Dana, which is giving. And tapasya, which is the austerity. For these purify even great souls. So ask yourself, when you perform your work, when you perform your actions, whether the acts you are doing are indeed purifying you or not purifying. Tragically, when you do well in your career or in your profession or in your job or whatever, your business, you beat your chest saying, how great I am. Murkha, alpa buddhaya, one with little intelligence. Fool, why don't you understand that it is Prakriti that is doing everything? That Bhagavan is acting through Prakriti. And indeed, instead of becoming purified, you are becoming more and more like a Rakshas. If you truly are working and being purified by your work, your mind will become silent. And the harder you work, the more silent your mind will become. Because it is hard work to silence the mind, but hard work silences the mind. So don't ask for name or fame or acknowledgement. Don't ask that you should learn something all the time in the work that you're doing. Don't keep hungering for enjoyment in your work. And there will be times when you feel that you are underpaid. So also, perform all actions in a spirit of devotion to God. Om Tat Sat. Krishna, this is for you. Yat karoshi, yad ashnasi, yat juhosi dadasi, yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat purusham adarpanam. Whatever you do, whatever you offer, whatever you eat, whatever you give away, whatever charities, whatever austerities you perform, everything, do it for me. Shubha ashubha phalairevam mokshate karma bandhane. Sannyasa yoga yuktena vimukto mam yavaishyasi. Acting in this manner, which is known as sannyas yoga, will become free of both good and bad karma. And eventually you will come back to me. So with this, I want to leave a last message. Don't be discouraged in your job or your work or your duties to your family. Do them as a sacrifice to please God. Your reward will be that your mind will become silent. If you perform your work in a spirit of sacrifice and devotion, remembering God and forgetting self, you will cross beyond joy and sorrow, honor and dishonor, pain and pleasure. You will become indifferent to the gunas that oscillate constantly within your prakriti. You will see with equal vision. Vidya vinaya sampanne brahmane gavi hastini shuni chaiva sabhake cha pandita samadarshinaha. You will be a pandit. You will see an elephant, a dog eater, a brahmana. You will see them all with equal vision. Never forget this. Everything else you get from your work is incidental, it is prasad from God. But the real thing that you must seek from God is that your work should purify you. And the signs of purification will be something that cannot be missed by you. So I will pause here. If you have any queries, please speak up now. Anyone has any queries or questions or comments? All right. Hari Om, Jai Shri Krishna, Hare Krishna.